Have you ever looked into a mirror and cried? Would you summon a demon to do your bidding? Do monsters still live under bridges? Today we test the believability of the Sheepman, Giwoogle, and the Squonk.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
where we dive into the unknown and the unusual
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
I think it's Giwoogle. I'm not sure.
You didn't look it up?
I don't think it exists. It's not a real word.
So we're already going unbelievable 30 seconds in.
Well, I mean, the word is unbelievable for sure.
Listen, I know that we're living in a difficult economy right now. I like how you led with do trolls still live under bridges or do their asses get evicted? Are trolls making rent these days? And if they're not under bridges, where are they? Maybe that's why they went under beds. They're squatting under beds now.
They are squatting. Maybe they're squatting in bridges.
Squatting under bridges?
I don't know.
In bridges?
Yeah.
On top of bridges?
You know what a squonk is?
Yeah, it's the really ugly looking thing that gets sad because it's ugly.
Let's not jump ahead of ourselves.
You asked me.
Just wondering if you knew what it was.
It's the only thing I know from it, what you listed.
Well, these are all Pennsylvania cryptids.
Oh, the yins. The cryptidians. Like onions.
The cryptians.
Or not onions, funyuns. The cryptidians.
Yeah.
They're probably Steelers fans, unless they're Philadelphia.
They're all located in Cryptid Town in Pennsylvania. The Sheepman is actually very close to where you grew up.
It was in Ashebule?
Well, Erie.
Erie, okay.
In Erie County.
I used to go to Erie because they have no sales tax on clothes. So my mom would take us shopping there so we'd have to pay sales tax.
Yeah.
For school.
So they're all from Pennsylvania. So the overall arcing theme is Pennsylvania cryptids.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I like Pennsylvania.
So
not the sports teams, but you know.
Yeah, no. The area is beautiful.
Yes, and as soon as you get into Pennsylvania, the roads are nicer, and you start seeing really cool hills and I don't want to say mountains.
Yeah,
but because mountains makes you think
it's way less flat than Ohio.
Yeah, it's just instantly nicer scenery.
I mean, more flat. I said less flat.
It's less flat than Ohio.
No, it's more. Yes. What?
Yeah, there's hills. They have hills.
Yeah, so
Ohio's flat with bad roads. Pennsylvania is nice roads and hillier.
Yes. Yeah. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
I'm with you.
We started our mermaid episode with an excerpt from, I think it was the Odyssey. I'm going to read a poem about the Squonk. The noble Squonk.
The noble Squonk.
That's what it's called. Paleolithic and petrified beast is weeping of misery past, a hideous, horrid, dissolvable wretch, neither seen nor caught or laid to rest, simply carried away by the tides of time. Why not? The reason is tears, the rhyme. Past clay and silt and sand and soot, quartz and granite and stone, past years and years of yonder yore, frozen, suspended alone. The Squonk, fearsome critter of the air for light, withered and wasted, without protest or bite, nor bark, no growl, nor chain, no mace, nor tooth, nor claw, but his pitiful face. Thus he hid in the dark, so timid was he. Here the blemished beast bade other critters leave him be, and leave him they did, beasts of river and land, until came a creature by the cruel name of man, who came with his spears and his guns and his knife, caught word that this monster surely threatened his life. Hence vile men went on the great manly Squonk hunt, with his fierce hunting dogs, and clubs deadly and blunt. With his wicked bloodlust, the intrepid man went through the woods till he found teary tracks, salt scent, to a dreary dark cave where he lay pounded critter, who shied from the man, and wept long and bitter. It had ill-fitting skin and legs like a stump. It had warts on its back and cucumber's hump, with nowhere to run and no means to hide. It did what came natural, lay down and cried. The hunter advanced, spear steadied in hand, but before he could move, something startled the man. The animal wept till he near drowned in his tears. The man's eyes beheld, noble Squonk disappeared. Soaked into the earth was his essence and mind. But alas, he was struck between the fore and the hind. Yes, 'tis true, he dissolved and melted into pure tears, but reformed in the earth, fossilized all these years. Forever after he was encased in his tomb, eternally frozen inside Mother Earth's womb. So he wept with pure misery, wept pools, lakes, and rivers, wept oceans and seas, and salt in his wheezes. May the deep black drink fill up with his brine. Why not? The reason, his tears, the rhyme. Now this is where you snap.
So he's ugly.
He's ugly.
Yeah. But they ugly enough that they took the time to write this beautiful poem.
It's called The Noble Squonk by, gosh, what's his name? J.F. Gambit.
Okay.
It's a pen name.
The Noble Squonk.
The Noble Squonk.
It just needed to hear that One Direction song, The Beautiful.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it would come out of the mother's nature's womb.
Maybe. So, what are the myths around the squonk?
So wait, they shamed it until it cried itself into the earth?
Well, they scared it. Yeah. The squonk is a creature that is from the hemlock forests of Pennsylvania. It's a unique creature that it doesn't pose any threat to people.
Might make your eyes bleed.
Wow, that's not nice.
No, I don't know. It seems like that's what the rep is kind of getting. I feel bad for the thing.
I do too. Jeez, make your eyes bleed.
I'm just starting rumors, man. It's gonna spread. It'll be on Wikipedia by tomorrow.
You really are.
No, I'm Team Squonk.
Yeah, Team Squonk for sure.
They should make it like an honorary Pokemon or something.
I'm pretty sure there's a Pokemon based in the Squonk.
If there was a cryptid trading card game and you got the Squonk, what would be like the power?
I think it'd be like a low power rating.
But like, what would happen? Like, oh, I just lay down a Squonk.
Oh, I know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Your field would turn to like rivers, and all your other cryptids would have like a free turn.
Oh.
Because it's like hiding them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
You play more of that game, so I pimped you a little bit there, but I also wanted to get your opinion on it.
That's what I think would happen. Because in my opinion, the squonk is kind of like a water elemental. We'll get to this in the discussion, I guess. But anyway, so the squonk has a Latin name given to it by the same person who was the first person to write about it, which was William T. Cox, and is Lacrympulus I can't pronounce Latin. I'm not going to try. Dissolvedness.
Dissolvedness into the Mother Nature's womb.
It translates roughly to tear, body, and dissolve.
But then that's pretty accurate then.
Yeah, well, it's given this name. He gave it this name because it's said to have this ability to actually dissolve into salt water when captured.
Man, we don't want these things going in the Great Lakes.
No, it turned into salt.
Just get they just like, oh, if you guys are going to call me ugly, we're going to go dissolve in your fresh water. That's how they get back at us.
Well, okay, so Steph, I was talking to Steph about this last night.
That's your wife.
Yeah.
Just for context.
Yeah, that's right. And she was like, well, if they're so ugly, then why do they cry? I was like, because they're really ugly. And she's like, well, if they're so ugly, how do they make more of them? I was like, I don't. That's a good question.
I mean, to other squonks, there's got to be there's like the rating scale we have of what we think is attractive, and I'm assuming squonks probably have their own rating scale.
They must.
Maybe they have like a Tinder for squonks.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they cry so much I'll get to it in a sec. So the squonk is about it's a smart creature. It's fairly smart enough to know that it's
ugly.
Yeah,
it's self-aware enough.
Yeah, it's also sad.
Yeah.
It's sad because it has this awareness. It's about 3 feet long, mostly hairless, with too much skin. So much skin that it has like folds. Just folds on folds. And it's covered in this greasy, warty exterior. It generally looks like a pig in the face and in the body, although it's got unproportional legs. So
like longer legs?
Either described as like stubs or weirdly gangly, which I don't like that.
No, the gangly is creepy. The stubs are kind of cute.
Yeah.
Pigs are kind of cute.
Yeah, they are. So the squonk with its intelligence knows to avoid seeing anyone. They should only go out at night. But if it sees itself in the reflection of the full moon in the water, it can be heard crying to itself because it's so ugly. It's really, it's a bummer. It's sad.
It is really sad. I feel like there's enough cool people in this world, though, that would accept the Squonk.
I would
feel
accept the Squonk.
I feel like the Squonk ran into the wrong people at the wrong time.
It got Squonk bullied.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like people were less. What year was that poem written? I mean,
I don't know when the year of the poem was written, but the first time writing about the Squonk was in 1910.
Yeah, I feel like people were a lot less chill about things that look differently.
Yeah, they would throw rocks at it and stuff, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like today, as long as it's stayed away from Twitter is pretty volatile.
Yeah.
But I feel like it could find some people that would be okay with it. That's all assuming that it's not just, made up. But
So speaking of that,
speaking of the believability scale,
the only real encounter we have is from the first person who found it, which was William T. Cox.
maybe there was only one and it just wept and
until it died.
It's like, I can't wait to find a mate. And then it got bullied and then it cried and now it's gone.
Well, this is what he said.
Let's see what he said.
He said, quote, probably the homeliest animal in the world.
Oh, jeez.
And it knows it.
Did you know, sorry to interrupt, did you know that homely was a bad word?
No. What do you mean?
I can't remember the context of this happening. I just know it happened. But I thought homely meant like homey, cozy.
Oh, it means ugly.
Yeah. That's what I meant. If you always knew it meant.
Oh, yeah, I did know that.
See, there was a point in time where homely, I thought it was like homey, cozy, nice. And I said it about someone, thankfully not to their face. And I meant it in like a cozy way.
Yeah.
But I said it and I got like a look that was like, that's really rude. I'm like, what? And then it was explained to me what it meant. I think it was from Claire, my wife. But
you're like, no, I mean it in a nice way.
Yeah. But apparently homey is the word I was looking for. Not like my homie, but
I think like my homie.
No, like a place is homey.
My
it's
dude.
nice. It's nice.
Oh,
it's
okay.
comfortable.
So what a homely interior.
Yeah. Our studio is looking a little homely at the moment.
A little bit. It's working. It's trying to be homey, but it's more
It's not
homey.
quite Squonk-like, but
yeah. Probably the homeliest animal in the world and knows it. Today, the Squonk is met solely in the hemlock forest in Pennsylvania. Is the most retiring, bashful, crepuscular animal, garbed in loose, watery, singular, ill-fitting skin. The Squonk is always unhappy, even morbid. He is given to constant weeping over his really upsetting appearance and can sometimes be tracked by his tear-stained trail. Moonlit nights are best for Squonk hunts, for then the animal prefers to lie in quiet its hemlock home, fearing, should it venture forth, that it may catch a glimpse of itself in some moonlit pond. Sometimes you can hear one weeping softly to himself. The sound is a low note of pleading, somewhat resembling the call of the cross-feathered snee. I don't know what the hell a snee is, but that's what a Squonk is.
Why are they hunting it? Like, I don't like it. I'm gonna hunt. It's like there was no Netflix. You know, it's like it's 7:45. You already ate dinner. You have nothing to do. You know, there's no Xbox. There's no Netflix, and you're like, guess I'm gonna go hunt some Squonk.
Gotta go hunt a Squonk tonight.
I mean, I know what they say about the idle mind is not good, but
yeah.
You know, like sometimes you need to Netflix and chill. This is sad. Poor Squonk.
That's Squonk.
Probably not real, but.
Yeah.
That's, You know, it needs to be on that SpongeBob, the I'm ugly.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Yeah. Maybe it's not even that ugly.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Giwoogle, I think it's called.
How's it spelled? We don't need another Daddy Florida incident, all right?
G-I-W-O-O.
Giwoo.
G-L-E. Giwoogle?
Did you look it up on YouTube?
No, it doesn't come up.
It doesn't come up.
You want me to check how to say Giwoogle?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like the gabagoo, like the Italian,
It does. No, it's how to say Google. And then it's how to say Google in Africa.
Oh, gee. All right, hold on.
It's Giwoogle.
Hold on. How are you calling it?
Giwoogle.
It'd be woo, right? Not
Giwoogle.
woo. Yeah, I guess it'd be Giwoogle. Well, at least we can say we tried. That's what matters.
But first, let's do a little bit of history.
Perfect.
About something kind of fun. The witch's familiar.
About Yahoo.
A witch's familiar is a demon in the form of an animal that is connected to a witch. They are specifically imps in the shape of animals, and they are like companions, and they usually act as guides for their witch. They also guard their witch, and they're normally sent by some other power or conjured by the witch.
What would be your Giwoogle?
Giwoogle is a specific familiar.
Okay, so you can't just pick it. It's not like your spirit animal.
No, you're gonna no. That's no. It's a special one. But my familiar?
It's like a holographic one.
What would be your familiar?
Oh, I don't know. Sugar glider. I don't know.
Glider.
I don't know. I like cats, man. I know it's boring.
Well, they're like the trope for a reason.
Imagine a penguin like sliding on its stomach like this way.
Yes. I like that a lot.
I don't know. I'd probably be a cat, but what do you got?
We'll get to a list in a minute.
No. What would be your familiar?
Oh, a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is that the same as a spirit animal?
No.
I see your spirit animal as a bear. I don't know if that would be your familiar, though. You don't have to think about it right now. I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I'll think about it. I'll think about while I go through this.
Sure. Well, I'm distracted and not paying attention to the story. I'll think about my spirit animal.
Now, according to Teen Vogue, there's a quote from the director of Hoodwitch, Brie Luna. And she said, quote, "Familiars are not just pets. They are our truest friends and confidants. They're here and they see it all. They understand and know us better than we even know ourselves." End quote. Which I thought was a nice thing.
That is very nice
to say about a demon.
It's the nicest. Yeah, I know. Squonk's getting like this terrible, disgusting, let's go hunt it. And then it's a demon. It's like, so it's kind of like your best friend, but closer.
Yeah.
It's like you're number one in your top 8. What about a fruit bat?
Not see that on the list.
You don't, for my spirit animal.
Oh, for your spirit animal?
Yeah, fruit bat.
I can see. It's kind of vegetarian.
Small.
Yeah.
Can fly. Heights freak me out, though, so maybe I shouldn't pick up.
I don't think so.
I'll keep thinking about it.
Yeah. So familiars are physically bonded to their witch. Telepathically or empathically, they commune with their witch. And speaking of communing with their witch, here's a real piece of history. In the Salem witch trials,
a real piece. Yeah.
One sign.
That'd be thunder. I don't think I picked up on the mics, but it is thunderstorming severe weather here.
In Salem, one of the sure signs, I know, right? One of the sure signs that you're a witch is that they would look for something called a witch's teat.
Go on.
Well, it was not the two.
Yeah.
It was another one, either a third nipple, or it was, in some cases, even a skin tag. And it was said to be the place where your familiar would latch on and suck blood from you to feed.
So if they didn't have it, they were just like, our bad?
Well,
they're like, well, let's do the floating thing.
Yeah, they would be like, oh, does she drown?
I guess she was all right. Yeah. Our bad, RB.
Yeah, that was just one death. There were many, many.
Sounds like an excuse to violate a woman. And that's not funny.
No. You're right. I think you're right. And, they did to men too. Like for witches' teats anywhere.
Okay.
Now, there are many kind of familiars besides the trope of a cat. That's very common for a reason because many of them are cats, but that's okay.
They're good pets.
Now, they could also be dogs. They could be wild birds. They could be toads, Neville Longbottom.
Sure.
They could be insects like spiders, bees, grasshoppers. They could be rats or mice, Ron Weasley.
Yo, if my familiar is an ant, I'm a little disappointed.
I think it's kind of like a Willard situation. Like you get a lot of them. You know what I mean?
That's like, all right, you can either get one cat or you can get 232 ants. You got the red ants, black ants. We'll throw a queen in. Yeah. Like, all right, deal.
Yeah. They can be animals like cows.
Oh, you know what?
That might be it.
I kind of like that.
That might be it.
I don't think it's mine, but I kind of like it.
It could also be a goat, barnyard animals.
Yeah.
They can also be things like ferrets, bears, and even snails.
Okay.
A snail would be kind of cute. So what is the myth about a Giwoogle? How does that come?
Giwoogle?
Giwoogle. I don't know how to say it exactly.
It might be Giwoogle.
How does this connect to familiars? Well, a Giwoogle is said to be a monster, specifically from Clinton County, that is a witch's familiar. So the story is that the creature was summoned to aid a witch in the 1800s. It's said that it is a large creature. It's different from any other kind of familiar because it's described as an amalgamation of several animals. It's around 6 feet tall, so it's got some height on us.
A little jelly,
It's also said to have the torso and head of a wolf.
Oh, it's like Dogman in it.
Kind of. It's a little bit different. It does walk bipedally, but its legs are set like donkeys, and its feet are hoofed. And its hands, I think, are the worst part, because its hands are not hands. They're claws, like talons from a bird.
Oh.
So bird-like talons.
Ugh.
Now, the sightings of the Giwoogle go back to the 1800s in Clinton County. And according to a story from the Pennsylvania Wild by Lou Bernard, he said, quote, "The legends involve local women who were believed to be witches, casting spells to conjure up one of these things when a nearby farmer offended them. They would send the Giwoogle to harass the farmer, which often took the form of annoying stunts to petty vandalism. Giwoogles didn't seem to be violent for the most part, but the farmer would wake up to find their crops trampled, tools damaged, and Giwoogle's tracks around the barn." End quote.
So you have this huge wolf-like beast with talon hands, and the way that they're getting back at this farmer is he's trampling on crops.
Yeah, and breaking his tools.
Yeah, it seems
I feel like you could do more with that.
Yeah. It seems like you're doing the bare minimum with what you have, and I'm not saying that they should harm the farmer. I mean, the farmer's actually very lucky.
Yeah.
That this is the.
Or what if they're like vampires that couldn't get in without permission?
Maybe. Is that part of the lore?
No.
Yeah, it's like you buy a new computer in the 90s and you just use Microsoft Paint. Like, it's like,
yeah,
there's more you can do with this thing. He's like, "Are you sure you want me to, like, split his throat?" Or like, she's like, "No, I think he's got some new crops. Why don't you step on him?"
He's got those new crops installed.
Why don't you go stomp on him and sit on him and stuff? He's like, "Oh,
he's just mad.
Never let me have any fun."
Yeah. That's it about the Giwoogle. That's the only story I have from them.
Man, it doesn't even pull on YouTube. That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
That's how you know. All right, let's move on to the next cryptid. The Waterford Sheepman. The area of Waterford in Pennsylvania was a town that was harassed by something that lived in the outskirts. Near the abandoned covered bridges that are littered throughout Erie County, PA.
Oh, so this is the one.
Yeah.
This is Erie.
You can still hear the cry of the sheepman, a monster that is taller than a man, the animal head and eyes of a simple barnyard animal, but ferocious teeth, long arms, and claws of a predator. Another creature that walks on 2 feet and roams throughout Erie County. A quote from the Pennsylvania Rambler about the history of the sheepman goes like this. Quote, "By the mid-1700s, everyone who was seeing the strange creature roaming through the forests and fields around Waterford. Despite the name, the sheepman was not a friendly beast. Farmers during the height of the sightings reported having their livestock savagely torn apart and eaten by the strong creature. The sheepman supposedly lived in a cave northwest of the town, but was often spotted lurking around the covered bridges on the southeast side of town. After a massive wave of sightings by residents in the mid-1700s, the creature seemed to have vanished from local landscapes, though every now and again, it seems to make an appearance before disappearing again." Now, I have a piece of media from TikTok.
This is what I imagine is it's like somebody's doing some dumb stuff. Maybe they're drunk, they're stumbling, and they see an animal. They're like, "What's that?" And then they look, and it's just his head peeking out of a bush. Like, "Oh, it's just a dumb sheep." And then they like spit at it or something. And then the sheep stands up. And then the camera switches to the view of the creature and it just gets taller and taller and taller.
Terrible. But I think that's exactly what it is. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So this is from Nate Odd. Nate_Odd on TikTok and Instagram.
What's up, Nate? I said that like he's here. We're going to respond.
I know, right?
He's not.
He's letting us use his really precise, informative TikTok about the subject.
In the 1970s, the small town of Waterford, Pennsylvania, was terrorized by a sheepman. The Waterford Sheepman lurked in farm fields, stalking and eating livestock, and was witnessed by hundreds of townfolk. This cryptid was known to dart across dirt roads at night, Pennsylvania Route 19, and even an old covered bridge in town. Herb Kinney recalled that the sheepman was known to hang in the rafters of the covered bridge on East Street, and he had a friend who was a victim of the ungodly creature. Two couples from Erie were traveling into the bridge late one summer night, seeking shelter from a rainstorm and looking to put the top back on their convertible. They were viciously attacked from above and fought off the creature before speeding away. The top of the car was ripped and torn from the attack. The countryside was abuzz for the rest of the 70s with tales and sightings of the sheepman, but eyewitness accounts soon ended, leaving many to wonder what happened to the Waterford Sheepman.
I've definitely seen that last image of it.
I have seen that as well.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It's scary in a way. I like the way he told it too. He did very TikTok.
Yeah, he had a
captured
script.
Like a minute.
It was like a good minute script that was read with good creepy music behind it,
Yeah.
good visuals, everything we don't put out.
I really like what you said before that happened. Just you see the sheep in a field and it stands up.
Like you're on your way to Waldemere. Have you been to Waldemere?
No.
Okay. It's a little park in Erie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, oof.
Presque
Creepy.
Isle, I think, is out there.
I think it's scary in the fact that it's like this thing that can blend in. Yeah. But that's the Waterford Sheepman.
Again, a lot of very, very old sightings in these cryptids.
Those are the most recent. Those are the 70s.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's compared to the other ones. Yeah.
Still, like, what, 40 years ago?
50. No Reddit?
No Reddit.
Wow, man, I don't know if I can even judge this thing. I don't even know if it's like DNP, like did not play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. I can't even vote on this thing on the believability scale.
So before we stop this episode and get to the discussion, we want to stop and thank our newest Patreon listeners as of this episode. And they are Maggie, Orlando, Sally with a question mark. I don't know if you're Sally.
Sally? You have to
Sally?
raise yeah.
Either Colbert or Colbert. I think it's probably Colbert. And Amber. Amber is the color of your energy. She's probably very tired of that. But whoa.
I would almost say that maybe they haven't. Well, you think they hear that?
Yeah. I cannot hear that name and think of that song.
Really?
Cannot.
Okay.
Anyway, we like to take this time and highlight one thing about our Patreon that these people are now getting, probably. And Tyler, is there one thing you want to highlight from the Patreon?
Oh, yeah. So if you are a dedicated tier member and you do not choose to not receive items, you can do that when you sign up. You can choose to, that way we can't see your address, but you would choose that you wouldn't receive any gifts. But if you are a dedicated tier member and you stick with us for 3 months, you get sent an exclusive t-shirt that you cannot buy on our website, you cannot buy on our merch. It was created specifically for patrons. It is an awesome design. It's got mountains. It's got a UFO flying with a tentacled beast grabbing the UFO. There's some Fresno Nightcrawlers chilling on there. There's like this weird hunched over cryptid thing on the mountains. It's an awesome design that's fun to look at. And it says dive in the unknown unusual. I know there's a scuba diver diving down there.
True, yeah.
It's a sweet, awesome design. And you don't have to pay for it. You can't buy it. It's not meant for anybody except for our patrons in their dedicated tier after a few months. I think it's cool. I think it's like a not, I don't want to say brotherhood. It's like a sisterhood. It's like a group,
a community.
And that's probably society. It's a community.
Society.
It is like if you own that shirt, it's because
you're in the society.
Yeah,
it's almost like a secret society.
But I don't want it to be a secret. I want you to proudly wear it. You know, don't turn into just that bed you wear at nighttime, even though it's very soft
and comfortable.
Very comfortable. That was one of the things we really wanted to do at the beginning, and we focused a lot on what this design was going to be like, and we're kind of revisiting it in something that's going to be dropping in July, which is going to be really exciting. But for the time being, that is something I think is awesome. And anytime people take pictures wearing it and post it online, it makes me really happy to see it.
I want to shout out, I think it's next week. Are you going on vacation next week?
No, I'm going to be here next week.
Okay.
Or this week as of the recording. Well, when you hear this, I'm still here.
Okay. I think we're doing Google Hangout this week, right?
Should be, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to shout out is Google Hangout. Once a month, we get together with our dedicateds here, and we just talk. We just talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Either things about the podcast, things about our lives, things about your lives, which I enjoy probably even more than things about our lives.
I think last time we actually took the computer and walked around and gave a tour of the studio.
Yeah,
impromptu.
I love learning about the people that listen to the show, the people that like us.
Well, it kind of becomes that community.
Yeah.
That secret society group.
Aforementioned
where you get to
community,
know, you like, hey, how is this going? Or how is that wedding planning going? Or have you welded anything recently?
Have you gotten a piece of metal in the eye? Love to know that.
Need to know that.
Yeah. But that's something I wanted to shout out because it's definitely something that's become one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's very cool for sure.
Yeah. So with that, those things in Patreon, I hope they enticed you.
We'll talk about more later.
But let's get back to the episode. Oof. So 3 cryptids this episode. Do you remember the names of all of them?
There's a Squonk. There was the Sheepman. And there was Giwoogle.
Giwoogle? Sure. Yeah. Let's go over them. How we talked about them. The Squonk first.
Sure.
Oh, Squonk. The noble Squonk is how I will always refer to it now.
They talk all that shit and then they call it the noble Squonk.
I don't know. It's a nice story.
Is it a nice story, Charlie?
No, it's a sad, melancholy story, but that's kind of I like Edgar Allan Poe a lot. So it's the kind of story I'm into.
I like sad songs, so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I feel bad for the Squonk. I wish it wasn't so persecuted.
I don't think you should feel that bad for the Squonk.
Why?
Because it's not real.
Whoa.
Because I don't think it's real.
Okay.
I think that's that was a joke. Because you attach you watch Marvel, right? And then Iron Man dies, right? Spoiler alert. It's been 4 years. Get over it. And then you feel sad because even if something's fictional, you can get attached to it. So yes, the story of the Squonk is sad, but I don't believe it to be true.
I have 2 ideas to why it is real.
Okay.
Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if you can change my mind.
The first one I think you might get behind. I think the Squonk is nothing more than a deformed pig. I think it's just a sad pig that's lonely, maybe abandoned. Maybe it got hurt. I don't know. But I think it's just a pig that got lost in the forest.
So the crying and the dissolving part was just
I think that's just
dramatized.
Yeah. I think I probably did squeak and cry a lot because pigs do that.
Sure.
Especially if it was hurt every time it moved or something.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been just this one time discovering this one animal because there's no other encounters of it.
Yeah.
It's just a one-time thing.
I think the next thing you're going to go into is the elemental thing, which I wish the camera didn't die. I like the look on your face right now. No, you're right. I can get behind that what happened to it was dramatized, but the fact that it existed as a deformed pig, I can get behind that.
Okay. So the elemental thing. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Its element is water.
Mm-hmm.
It lives in the land.
Sure.
It cries because it realizes what humans are doing to the land.
Of course.
Of course. And that's why it dissolves into water. Simple enough.
They need to reproduce these things and fly them over California and Canada where it's burning and just start dropping these. You're doing your part for the country, Squonk.
Get in there, Squonk. Squonk, go.
Go, Squonk, go.
I mean, do I think it's really an elemental? I think it's probably the pig thing.
Listen, I understand because even when we did the hairy hands, you need to provide potential theories even if you personally don't believe them.
Yeah.
There's different angles and, something that we might say might make someone else think of something and have a piece of the puzzle that we don't have where maybe that is true, but
I do hope that someone out there hears this and's like, no, I've seen a Squonk. I'd be like, yeah.
Go write about it on Reddit and then we'll do it again.
Okay, before we get into that, every single one of these stories I checked on Reddit multiple angles.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What'd be crazy is if where the Squonk died, and all the water fell in, if 2 things. One, if that spot on the ground was eternally wet.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was grass that could never dry.
Yeah.
That'd be trippy. Or if a plant grew there, like a tree or a bush, and no matter how hot it got or any droughts, if the tree or whatever was just always perfectly healthy and grew.
I was going to say something along the lines of like it was a kind of plant that it can only grow in salt water.
No, that's the third thing. The third thing is it's an only saltwater plant. Seaweed. I don't know.
Should we rate all of these individually, or we want to do
whatever you want to do?
I guess we'll rate them all individually because I do think there's an element of believability to this. And if you just think that maybe it's a pig that was hurt, if we're going pig that was hurt, I can go viable on that. I go viable on that for sure. Yeah. So the Giwoogle. Giwoogle. I don't even know. Giwoogle.
Unbelievable. If you're not even represented on YouTube.
Yeah, I go hard unbelievable for Giwoogle.
Now, I think it's like if you back it up and you look at it at a greater scale with like witches, familiars, and things like that.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, there's a lot more to the story. But it's like when you narrow in on something so specifically, it makes it easier to go lower on the believability scale. If you look
really hard at it, it makes it really hard to not go lower than unbelievable.
And there's not that many encounters, or not. I don't want to say just encounters because it was like that farmer. It's like, yeah, I would stomp on his crops.
I saw the tracks that were probably just donkey tracks. I mean, it was a Giwoogle.
Yeah. No.
It could have done so. Like you said, it held back so much.
There's just not enough about it. And maybe one day if we cover like witches familiars and this is like a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when you did the, what were they called? The Japanese.
Yokai.
Was the whole thing yokai?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of You're right. Like if you would have done just one of them, some of the, like the sillier ones, like the eye butthole one, you know, it's like then it's like easier to go unbelievable. But when you package them all together and there's some that are believable, some that you're like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it's like we're not talking about like familiars in general. We're talking about this specific one, the Pennsylvanian one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's has a terrible towel.
It took me a second. Just running through the farm with a stupid towel.
The farmer was a Bengals fan. He's like, stop!
Oh no!
Shut up!
Are there any Wolf football teams?
I feel like the Timberwolves basketball.
Oh, that's it. That's the only sports.
I feel like somebody's like, you guys talk too much about football. Too bad. I feel like Kenny Pickett is a really good farmer name, and that's Pittsburgh's quarterback now.
That's a great farmer name. He should be a farmer.
Yeah, if this football thing doesn't work out for him.
No, he should invest in farms.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett?
God dang. Kenny Pickett, hell yeah, you can.
The only better farmer name is Jimmy Pickett, I think, and that should be his son.
I don't root for anyone to fail, even people I don't like, because he's probably an awesome guy. Yeah. Most of the people on teams I don't like are probably awesome guys.
Yeah.
But Kenny Pick Six would be really funny if that became his like nickname.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. All right. Unbelievable. Although I do like the idea of witches familiars.
Sure. Yeah. As a whole. Yes.
Yeah.
This specific one.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the Sheepman.
Yeah. What do you want to say? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I wish there were more accounts of it happening, but I really do like the idea of this. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That picture that was in that TikTok, I don't know if it was meant to be the Sheepman, but I've seen that many places.
I have too. I don't know if it's specifically from the Sheepman though, but I really like the idea that it looks like it's like the knot deer, really. In essence, it's something that looks like a prey item, a prey creature, and is really just a predator.
Yeah, it feels more popular though than the knot deer, right? Like I've heard about this more than the knot deer, I think.
You mean in popular culture?
Just in general.
You've heard about the Sheepman before?
Yeah.
Really?
You haven't?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I have not. I don't know. So I guess you go first. What do you think? Tell me some of your thoughts.
I love the lore of it. I think the lore is amazing. Like when I think of cryptids, this is the type of stuff I think of. Like I don't think of the Squonk. You know, and I think cryptid, it's like, you know, this is one of those things, right? Like, I mean, it's not, you know, you got Mothman, Loch Ness Monster.
Something's terrifying a town in the 70s.
Yeah, pretty much. Everything's bumping in the 60s and the 70s. Things have really chilled.
It's because there was unleaded gas in the air.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, or there was leaded gas in the air.
A lot of it, like it's a creature, so there's more. It's more believable than some things we talk about. Like, could this one creature exist potentially? There's not as many sightings as I would like.
I wish there were more.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go unbelievable, so I'll go skeptical.
I'm going to go viable. I'm going to go viable because I think there are so many of these things that are around, like things that are pretending to be other things. I think I go viable.
Okay, cool. I will not fight you on that.
The Pennsylvania Cryptids. Thank you for listening to the episode. I love the Squonk. I'm never not going to love the Squonk. I believe in the Loveland Frogman. I don't believe in the Squonk.
It's a little harsh.
Do you think the Squonk can do great things?
If it was real.
If it was real.
If it wasn't just a pig.
Oh, poor little piggy.
Yeah, we've had multiple people tell us to do the Squonk.
Yeah, there's just not much to it, unfortunately.
Somebody's hit us up. I won't say the topic because, it might come out sometime. Somebody told us to do a topic that I've researched before, and it's in Alabama. There's a hint. But I researched it, and I couldn't find enough on it. But I think they sent me some. I haven't had a chance to check. I think they sent me some encounters. So I'll be excited if that's the case. But it's like you could not have done this episode. I mean, we could talk about whatever we want, I guess. Like sometimes I forget that we can do that. Yeah. It's like we have bosses or something.
Well, that's why I just did 3 cryptids.
But that's what I mean. Like, could you have done the Squonk by itself?
No way.
See, that's like there's interesting things out there that just aren't big enough to become what we consider a full Believe in the Bizarre episode.
That's true.
Especially like,
true.
I mean, not that one episode a week isn't enough, but if we put out one episode and it was like 13 minutes, it just wouldn't feel. I'd be
disappointed.
Yeah, like I feel like even our earlier episodes were like 25 minutes at least. I don't think we could do a 25-minute episode if we tried now.
Feels like a challenge.
Yeah, like I feel like it would be like so concise. But like I'm glad that you did this so that we could talk about the Squonk. Like that's what we try to do, even with like the shorter listener submissions. It's like we want everybody to get their airtime.
Yeah.
So how can we? And then we started doing the listener submission collections. Or now it seems like we never do a singular listener submission. We have that like intro into it, which I think is cool.
It's hard to do a singular listener submission. It's hard to do a singular listener submission for me now.
Yeah. Well, I'll be very transparent. I get afraid that what if it's a 19-minute episode, right? And I really don't think that'll be the case because we always have little tangents and then there's like the Patreon segment.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's an issue, but I have that fear. And then it's funny because it's like I'm afraid it's going to be a 19-minute episode and then ends up being an hour and 5 minutes. But either way, I'm glad we were able to get the Squonk out there. I know multiple people have hit us up. Shout out Pennsylvania for being hilly. And
I think we explored Pennsylvania a lot today.
Yeah, we went many places. You need to go to Erie, hang out sometime. Just explore Erie, Pennsylvania.
There was also like a murder that happened in Erie. You know what I'm talking about? I think it's called Evil Geniuses on Netflix. It's
no idea.
There was a robbery where they like abducted this pizza delivery driver and they put this like bomb on his head.
Whoa.
And he said that if he doesn't rob this bank, they're going to blow up his head. And spoilers, it goes off.
Ugh.
Yeah, that takes place in Erie.
Wow. All right, well, don't do that when you're in Erie. Just go to like Presque Isle or something. Actually, one of our scariest listener submissions that I can remember is from Pennsylvania, if you remember. The pale face that was outside.
Oh, God damn.
That wasn't Ohio, right? That was
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like
we
that
checked.
at
I remember
all.
it was like 6 hours away.
It was too close.
Yeah. There's some good cities in Pennsylvania. I actually really like Pittsburgh as a city. But I didn't say that.
I haven't been there for a minute.
Yeah. But thank you, everybody, so much for listening and hanging out with us on this Tuesday. We mentioned Patreon earlier. We mentioned a couple of things we like, but there's much more than that. There's quizzes. We watch Netflix movies together. We do fun segments like Do You Believe the Bizarre? Games, things like that. The shirts, like we mentioned. You get ringtones to our music that we do, our intro, our outro music. You get wallpapers for your phone. You get the shout-outs. There's social media response. Every Monday, we put out a question. You guys respond, and we look at them and talk about them and discuss y'all and then talk about it ourselves.
Yeah, and we got some more stuff coming up.
Oh, yeah.
That you don't even know about yet.
July's going to be fun. We probably should soon announce like 3-year anniversary stuff, but we got to dial it in a little bit first. But keep your schedule maybe open July 7th. It's a Friday. I mean, it's like if you got some cool stuff going on, do the cool stuff. I get it. But, maybe there'll be something going on that night. I don't know.
And if you like this episode and you want to tell us, go to Apple and leave a review. Say something like, oh, man, that's great. That's great.
That's great.
And leave 5 stars. And if you want to go on Spotify and leave 5 stars, it's like right under the episode, you go 5 stars.
Or you can actually respond to this specific episode with what you thought about this specific episode. I love reading those. I love publishing them. I like seeing what people are saying. So you can actually make a comment about this specific episode on Spotify, which is awesome. But thank you everybody so much for listening. We appreciate you. As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre,
a podcast as bizarre as you are.